The scream cut through the early morning fog just as Luke Carter swung open the gate to his ranch. "Please, hurry." Luke froze. At 62, he had learned the difference between fear and urgency, and this voice carried both. He followed the sound toward the old dirt road that bordered his land, boots sinking into damp soil. There, beside a rusted pickup that had broken down in the middle of nowhere, stood a woman clutching her coat with trembling hands. "My sister. She's not breathing right," she said, her words tumbling over each other. "I tried calling for help, but there's no signal. Please." Luke didn't hesitate. He waved her toward his truck, the one he used for hauling feed and fencing wire. As they sped toward the hills, she kept glancing back, as if afraid the world might vanish if she stopped looking at it. The ranch had been quiet lately, too quiet. Since his wife passed, Luke spent most days fixing things that didn't really need fixing, keeping his hands busy so his mind wouldn't wander. This sudden urgency felt like being pulled back into life. They reached an abandoned barn near the edge of his property. Inside, lying on a pile of old hay, was another woman. Pale, sweat-soaked, barely conscious. Luke knelt, checking her pulse the way his father had taught him long ago. It was weak, uneven. "She's pregnant," the first woman whispered. "She collapsed while we were driving through." "We need warmth and clean water," Luke said firmly. He shrugged off his jacket and placed it over the woman, then ran to his truck. He brought back blankets, bottled water, even the small first aid kit he kept out of habit more than hope. As minutes stretched, Luke noticed something odd. The woman on the ground stirred whenever her sister spoke, her breathing calming just enough to hold on. Luke realized then that it wasn't just his hands helping. It was the quiet reassurance of someone who refused to give up. When the baby finally cried, thin but determined, the sound filled the barn like sunlight. Luke sat back, stunned, tears blurring his vision. He hadn't heard that sound since the day his own daughter was born, a daughter he'd lost contact with years ago after she moved across the country. Sirens arrived soon after, echoing across the fields. Paramedics moved quickly, efficiently, but one of them paused, looking at Luke with surprise. "Mr. Carter?" the medic asked. "Your name isn't common." Luke nodded slowly. The medic smiled. "I think you should know, your daughter volunteers with our unit. She talks about you sometimes. About the ranch. About how you taught her to help people without asking why." Luke couldn't speak. He watched as the sisters were loaded into the ambulance. Alive. Together. The baby's cry faded into the distance, replaced by the steady hum of the morning. The fog began to lift, revealing fields glowing gold under the rising sun. Luke stood alone for a moment, hands still shaking, heart fuller than it had been in years. Then he turned back toward the ranch, already planning to fix the barn roof. Not because it needed fixing, but because someone someday might need shelter there again.